Hello and welcome to my channel Inspiring Life Changes. My name is Colette and I'm here today to do the full moon reading for the Gemini moon that is taking place on the 19th of December, which will be tomorrow, as I'm doing this on the evening of the 18th. Different setup, different environment, trying something new, something fresh. Kind of taken me a while to get this all set up properly as well, so it's going to take a while for it to get uploaded, and I'm still not sure about whether or not I actually like it, but at the moment I'm needing to kind of move out of where I was. So yeah, different space. So I'm still kind of getting used to it myself. Anyway, full moon in Gemini, big energy. This is my intuitive interpretation of this energy as well. So I have written it down as usual. It is on my laptop, so I will be reading from my laptop as I go, but I will probably also add more to it and kind of ad-lib through it as well as more information comes in about these things. And so let's see where we are. Okay, this full moon, so first of all I will do the cards because I always forget these. So we have the full moon in Gemini card here, which is saying that answers you need are coming. It's also very much about talking things through, doing a lot of talking, communication, listening, information, data, exchanging and sharing of information with Gemini. Mercury ruled energy, very quick thinking, fast moving, fast acting type of energy. We also have surrender to the divine, which is the culminating energy, the full moon itself energy, letting go, releasing everything that has accumulated for us in the last 2 weeks from the new moon forward. Of course, we had the solar eclipse at that time as well, so we're still kind of in that energy as well, processing what has taken place there. And it is another mutable moon because the last moon was in Sagittarius, a mutable sign, so this one is also mutable, Gemini opposing energy. So nothing yet set in stone means that anything could happen, anything could change. It's all up in the air. Nothing has completely been decided yet. And that could also be on a collective scale as well as in our own personal lives as well. When we think that something has kind of reached a definite decision or reached a final kind of verdict on something, it's like anything could happen. It could still change. So just be open to that change as well. So I'm calling this reading today the full moon in Gemini, revelations from on high. So the divine masculine sun energy opposes the divine feminine moon energy during the time of a full moon. And again, when it comes to the title, I hope that it kind of makes sense as I go through the reading itself. So this full moon continues to follow the pattern of the last 2 full moons, as it is taking place at the 27 degrees and 28 mark of the quick thinking, fast acting, communicative, dualistic, mutable air sign of the Gemini twins. It will be occurring on the 19th of December at 4:34 hours UK time, which will be different for other parts of the world. The summit will be on the 18th of December. So adjust the timing accordingly to your own area. Just like the new moon on the 4th of December, it will be affecting all the mutable signs, Gemini, Sagittarius in particular, which is where the sun is shining his light from, as well as Virgos and Pisces, who are both in more challenging angles of 90-degree squares. So if you have any planets or points at the 22 to 29 degrees 59 minute area of your chart, this is where the powerful full moon energy will be at its highest in Gemini in particular. But of course, it will also be the same for the other mutable signs as well. Just Gemini is going to be feeling it particularly powerfully. So, as this is also another out of sign moon, meaning that the moon's energy is extending beyond the sign that it's in, anything that's in the following signs are going to be conjunct the sun or conjunct the moon. So all the cardinal signs, which all come after the mutable signs of Cancer, Capricorn, Aries and Libra, are also going to feel this intensity if you have anything between the 0 to 02 degrees 28 minutes in any of those following on signs. So it is worth taking the time to check out your own natal chart to see where this will fall for you on an individual level, as whichever house or the houses these degrees are in, this will be where the full moon influence is going to show up for you on a personal individual level in your own life. For the collective, we are going to be experiencing this energy in the 3rd house, which is all to do with anything connected to children, early education, the question in mind, our direct environment, siblings as well as our neighbours, everything to do with language, communication, which also includes listening, the media, sharing of data, facts, information, storytelling, writing and the keeping of journals or diaries, along with book deals, are all highlighted under the light of this full moon in the 3rd house. So we have reached the last full moon of 2021, and it's a big full moon to go out on, as not only is it opposing the Sagittarius sun, it is also in a really tight opposition with the galactic centre, which the sun is right on top of, conjunct, which is bringing in more of that galactic energy for us to work with as we move into 2022. This energy, I feel, is all about seeking answers to some very big questions, even if the answers are not necessarily the ones we particularly wish to hear, acknowledge or believe at this time. This is the time to get things straight in our own heads. We want the truth. We are looking for an understanding that is logical and makes sense when so much around us doesn't appear to add up. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, our day-to-day thinking, cerebral mind, where things have to add up in order for our lives to run as smoothly as possible. However, at this time, Mercury, who is now at 8 degrees 33 of Capricorn, is missing in action, as we can't see him from behind the sun, and will not be able to until later in the month. This could be making us feel some very similar energies around it as if it's like a Mercury retrograde, not as strong as a Mercury retrograde, but there could be some kind of mind blanking or fogginess, or kind of like forgetting what you're doing at times, just maybe walking into a room and kind of going, why am I here? What am I doing? What did I come in here for? Or you could be in mid-conversation with somebody and kind of forget what you were talking about as something else kind of enters into your head quickly, and you're kind of maybe sidetracked or have to bring yourself back to that conversation. So there is this kind of tendency to not be as kind of running as smoothly with our minds at this time. Our brains aren't running on all cylinders in some ways. It's kind of misfiring. So also plans that we are making at this time We should also be aware that some of these could, over this festive season, kind of go a little bit awry. So kind of just make some, just be willing to allow things to, like, as it's a mutable moon, kind of change and like shift, and not try and keep things fixed to a certain way of having to have something. The more flexible we can be at this time within the festive season, the easier we're going to find it to actually enjoy the energies around the festive season. So Mercury is in an easy flowing trine with Uranus at 11 degrees 12 minutes in Taurus, who is himself still retrograde. And this is partly one of the reasons I think that Mercury is also having some kind of cut-off moments, should we say. So Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So with this aspect, we should be experiencing some downloads of higher vibrational understanding. And it kind of came through to me as like sudden, like Morse code. It's like sudden inspiration and breakthroughs can be expected when the lower and higher mind come together. And that's kind of where I'm seeing this kind of fogginess as well, almost like something stops within our thinking brain and it's like something else comes in instead. So there's a lot of higher dimensional kind of downloads happening at this time from this Uranus trine with Mercury. And so it's like short, quick bursts of higher intelligence, and then there's kind of these moments where Mercury kind of tries to understand what's just happened, or kind of tries to make sense of it, trying to fit puzzle pieces together to see a more complete picture. So being in Capricorn, Mercury also wants to know what this information has the ability to exist in reality, in the real world, because he wants to ground this information. He wants to ground it. He's basically saying to Uranus at this time, you know, this is the 3D realm, and it's all kind of well and good for you to give me these crazy ideas or these kind of like wacky out there moments, but you know, I need to kind of still live in this reality, in this 3D world. So I need to know that, you know, the information that I'm getting is going to actually be of some benefit, and that it will fit into my life somehow. It has purpose, and it's not just kind of some far-fetched out there idea that's just going to remain like a far-fetched out there idea. But Uranus energy is very sudden, very unexpected, very kind of quick bursts of downloads, of like eureka moments and kind of moments of genius where things kind of suddenly can make sense on a much bigger level. So Mercury himself has also just passed over the galactic centre, and he became conjunct from the 10th of December exact on the 11th, while at the same time being supported with an encouraging sextile from Jupiter, the ruler of the sign Mercury is in. It feels like some very powerful messages have come through from some much higher realms that are very optimistic, expansive, and far-reaching. And as Mercury continued on his journey, he crossed over the cardinal 0-degree point of the axis mundi of the world stage on the 13th of December. Again though, with Mercury hidden behind the sun, it feels like this is all still being processed and digested, waiting for the right time to integrate it into our conscious mind fully. With the Sun in Sagittarius conjunct the galactic centre at 27 degrees and 8 minutes, the cosmic opening to the universal mind itself, which happens every year as the Sun passes over this area. He is now receiving his new divine energetic imprint to carry forward into 2022. So that happens every year. The Sun goes across the galactic centre once every year as it passes round the sky, through the zodiac. But what doesn't happen every year is the sun bringing that energy through at the same time that the moon is full. So the moon as a reflection of the emotional body of the collective soul energy. So we're really kind of sucking up this galactic kind of higher divine presence of energy coming through with this galactic center, because the galactic center, I've said before, for me it's kind of like the umbilical cord into the rest of the universe. It's where the universe kind of feeds through all this new information, all this new input comes through this particular point of the galactic center. So we've just had, during that solar eclipse with the sun and moon, at 12 degrees of Sagittarius on the 4th of December, we just had that connection with the galactic attractor, which is basically cleaning out. So we've just had this kind of massive clearing out, and now we're kind of having this new input of information. The more we've cleaned out of our lives mentally, which is really what it's about, this kind of mental process of clearing things out and starting afresh in many ways. The galactic center is able, should I say, to bring in more of this higher frequency energy for us to work with. And because it's the full moon, the sun is shining directly on the moon at this time from the 27 degrees of Sagittarius, so it's right on top of this galactic center. So during this full moon, both the sun and the moon are creating a T-square with Neptune at 20 degrees 29 minutes in Pisces. So once again, we continue to have this strong Neptunian energy as the focus and release point of the tension between the opposition of the two. So as the sun and the moon are opposing each other, they are both square 90-degree angle to Neptune. So the focus and the attention and the tension of that opposition is coming out via the Neptune energy. So it's kind of highlighting, focusing, magnifying that energy of Neptune. So this, for me, feels like a revelationary period that we are moving into. Like something is about to be released or revealed during the time of this culminating last full moon of the year, with the energy growing between the sun, the moon and Neptune in Pisces. And of course the full moon energy lasts for 2 weeks. It's not just like that moment or that second of the full moon or even the day. It's like a 2-week period of time where that energy can play out. Again, check out your own house, because that will also make a difference. And if you don't know where your houses are, then there will be a link in the description box down below for you to go and check that out for yourselves if you're interested in finding out more about the astrology. If you don't already know it, always worth finding out your own astrological blueprint, so to speak. So your natal chart is like your blueprint. The time of birth, the date of birth and the place of birth will tell you exactly where all your planets were at that time and the houses that they are in, and that also will relate right the way through your whole life. So this energy of the sun, the moon and Neptune has been growing because the sun has been square to Neptune since the last new moon. So since that solar eclipse energy, the sun and the Neptune have been in this square. And we are being challenged to free ourselves and surrender to the intuitive knowing of what is going to be for our highest good. This feels like something big, something major to do with a higher purpose, almost like the truth is going to be revealed for a higher purpose. that it's time for the truth to be seen, because the universe has a much bigger and higher purpose for us than we have yet recognized. So it also feels to me as well as though it can't be held back for much longer, that the more obstacles or challenges are put in the way of this truth, the more powerful this energy gets. It feels like it's going to kind of burst out at some point, like a dam breaking in a way. The universe, so this focus on the Neptunian energy is also giving us a chance to see things from a higher perspective, to see situations or issues that are happening in our lives through the lens of compassion, forgiveness, and trust that what we are experiencing is a part of that greater connectedness to the universal source of all love. And the lessons we are going through are a deeper awakening and growth of our soul self. So again, it's kind of almost like the adverse energies are pushing forward the more positive energies. It's kind of making us do things or act in a way that we otherwise probably wouldn't do. We'd be more complacent and more likely to give in to things, whereas this feels like it's going to be much more of a, the more we awaken to the deeper knowing of ourselves, the more we are going to fight back, kick back, like just say no, basically. The more we're going to tune into our own inner being, the more we're going to reject what is kind of trying to be put on us at this time. So this is a time when it can no longer be held back. The truth has to come out. It has to be seen for what it is. Although it may be cloaked by deception or illusion or confusion around this narrative because of the unknown and mysterious qualities relating to Neptune and the 12th house. Also the fact that the moon is in a loose conjunction with Black Moon Lilith at 17 degrees 2 of Gemini, who is also square with Neptune. The shadow, darker side of our human nature is being forced out from behind the veil for the world to see very clearly, like a mist that has been thinning over a period of time. Now the reality is in front of us, and that's kind of this Neptunian, confusing, kind of deceptive, like, is that really what it is, or is it something else kind of energy? It's kind of like the mist is beginning to kind of like be lifted, or the scales, as they say, fall from the eyes. It's kind of that similar energy of kind of beginning to see things more come into focus more clearly. Like things can no longer be hidden behind that veil. So now the reality is in front of us. It is becoming clearer, less blurry and more defined as to what we have been unable to or unallowed to see before now. How we respond to these situations or issues that could be very distressing and on some level kind of quite soul destroying once the truth is revealed will also make a huge difference to our level of understanding. Depending on our own reaction, it will take us to another level, and I'm seeing this like an elevator, and it's an elevator where some will kind of drop into that lower based frequency out of fear, anger or pain, and will be more likely to kind of like lose it, go a little bit crazy, just kind of not be able to make sense of any of it. A lot of cognitive dissonance again, and a lot of kind of really believing that the world had been one way, and all of a sudden realizing this massive realization that in fact it was never the way they thought it was, is going to cause a huge amount of distress for a lot of people. So so whereas this energy is the lower frequency energy of this Pisces 12th house, the other side of this is like where people are going to be in this elevator rising above. So they're going to like be rising above that lower chakra expression as they see the lesson they are learning and growing from because of their experience in these emotionally confusing and possibly even deceptive situations. Some people are going to see it on a bigger picture scale to understand the whole picture or the bigger picture, or get a much better understanding of it in that sense of it making sense, or realizing that we don't really have that much control over it, that it is a bigger universal picture. And that we are kind of, although we're a part of that, we're also here to learn these lessons of these experiences that we have to go through in order to be able to rise out our frequency and our energies. So this will also all be emphasized and really magnified at this time by the Jupiter aspects being made to both the Sun and the Moon, as Jupiter is at 28 degrees 10 minutes in Aquarius, bringing that collective energy into this Gemini full moon in a big and expansive way. Jupiter is trine the moon and sextile the Sun, both aspects which are supportive and easygoing. With Jupiter being the ruler of Sagittarius, it is really highlighting once more all those Sagittarian and 9th house traits of seeking the bigger wisdom, freeing ourselves from the beliefs of other people that other people may try to put on us, as well as those that we limit ourselves by. Jupiter is asking us as to where or what it is we place our faith in. Do we look outside for our answers, or do we trust our own inner moral guidance and compass to steer us in the right direction? If not, is this through our lack of belief in our own ability to know what is right or wrong for us, and are we able to express that in a clear and precise terms? Jupiter is always up for a good debate. It's why he rules such abstract topics as philosophy, religion, science and the word of law, all according to the bigger picture and pushing beyond the boundaries, which Jupiter always has in mind. So Jupiter really is all about expansion, going beyond where we have been so far. And he likes that conversational side of things as well, the debating, the kind of like getting to an answer by having lots of different opinions, really. Something that at this time seems to be very lacking. It's all very kind of like the truth has been kind of put behind walls, should we say, and kind of kept hidden in many ways on many levels. But Jupiter is always looking for a bigger picture. He's always looking to find the truth, the wisdom, the knowledge, always seeking. And that, of course, is where this this galactic center is within the Sagittarian energy. So right now Jupiter is in a T-square with both the north and the south nodes of the moon, both of which are at 0 degrees 12 minutes of Sagittarius and Gemini, meaning they are in the very last degree before changing signs. So both the moon's nodes are about to change signs because they work on an axis together. So they are going to leave Sagittarius and Gemini, and they are going to move into Scorpio and Taurus, which is going to be very interesting because it means the energy is going to shift. Our focus of attention is going to shift, because over these last 18 months, if you look back, everything has become about information and data and collecting data and pieces of paper and things that are all to do with that Gemini, Mercury kind of mind, information, privacy, no privacy, censorship, all that kind of thing. Sagittarius, Gemini axis, north and south node. So the north node is about to move into Taurus, the south node is about to move into Scorpio, which means that the eclipses are also going to change as well. So as for the next 18 months, all the eclipses are going to be happening within the Taurus and Scorpio signs. So again, totally different energies that are going to be happening there. And I will talk more about them at another point as well. But interestingly, the Venus energy, which is the ruler of Taurus, is going to be very powerful. And of course, the Pluto energy, which is the ruler of Scorpio, is also going to be very powerful as well over these 18 months coming. So Jupiter will be leaving Aquarius on the 29th of December and moving into Pisces, where he previously got to the 2 degrees 11 minute point in June before turning retrograde. So Jupiter is still in his shadow period. He's turned station direct and he's now moving forward, but he's still in his shadow, and he will be out of his shadow on the 9th of January 2022. Which is also significant, as during this whole time he will continue in this ongoing T-square with both of the nodes as the balancing and focus point of these two opposing forces. So again, Jupiter is going to be the, kind of the focus point of this energy. Between the two nodes, so it's really kind of highlighting both of those energies, both the releasing energy and both the kind of like heading to this is where we are moving towards energy. So as we go through these final stages of releasing our long held and ingrained belief systems through the Sagittarian position of the South Node Ketu, that have now become dogmatic, limiting, written in stone, and what we karmically and collectively have reached the end of this learning experience from. The acceptance that maybe not everything is as it appears to be will become stronger as Jupiter enters Pisces, and the 12th house of surrendering and letting go and trusting in a more optimistic, brighter, expansive and more inclusive future. The North Node Rahu in Gemini is bringing through the new, the fresh, the inquisitive, childlike mind. It is reminding us to keep questioning, to open and expand our intellectual knowledge, to trust our own personal direction and explore more opportunities by letting go of what no longer serves us, and admitting that we still do not have all the answers in this big, vast, expansive universe we live in. During this full moon in Gemini, she is making some highly uncomfortable quincunx, also known as inconjunct, connections with two other planets. These are angles of 150 degrees with a 2-degree orb either side. So the reason for this uncomfortable feeling, this quincunx energy, is that the signs do not have any compatibility. So here we are dealing with the moon in mutable air sign, and she is quincunx both Venus at 26 degrees 29 minutes and Pluto at 25 degrees 32 minutes in cardinal earth sign Capricorn. So air and earth elements just do not understand each other. One is solid and grounded, the other is ethereal and ungraspable. Trying to bring the two together is an impossible task. They have no common traits to share. So the challenge is really to bring these energies together through a process of integration, while the natural desire is to separate and isolate them. So this energy is going to feel incredibly powerful and intense during the time of the full moon, as Venus has literally just stationed retrograde at midnight, about 4 hours previously in the UK. Her energy is already magnified because of this, because she's standing still in the sky. That energy is already magnified. And because of her being conjunct Pluto at the same time, it's putting an extra emphasis on this part of our natal chart. So again, if you don't have a natal chart, I recommend you go and check your own placements out and find out where this particular 25-26 degree point of Capricorn is relating to the house placement, because that is where this energy, which is going to be a big energy, not least because of course it is the two planets that are involved in the upcoming lunar eclipses, the lunar and solar eclipses that are yet to come in Taurus and Scorpio, are both going to be ruled by Pluto and Venus, and they are conjunct, and Venus has just turned retrograde conjunct Pluto just before the time of this full moon, literally midnight. So she's going to she has already been across Pluto, but I'm jumping the gun a bit there, so I'm going to go back a wee bit. Or maybe not. So yeah, sorry, she's already passed over the Lord of the Underworld, which is basically where she's heading, on the 11th of December, and that was at 25 degrees 19, and she's only moved 1 degree by the time she stations. So from the 11th to the 19th, Venus has only moved 1 whole degree. So she's now stationed, and she will stop there for the next 48 hours conjunct Pluto, and then she's going to turn back round very slowly and begin to retrograde back over where she has just come from. And she's going to be retrograde from the 19th of December right through until the 29th of January, during which time she will become exact conjunct with Pluto again on the 25th of December at 25 degrees 44 minutes. As the ruler of Taurus and the second house, she governs over all things that sustain us, as the bigger, that sustain us, particularly the need for finances, which controls the way we are able to live our lives, as well as the bigger financial structures, the world of corporate banking, and the huge corporations that have grown out of these, which in the sign of Capricorn is going to be something we will see play out as a major issue during this Venus retrograde, because it's happening in the sign of Capricorn, and Capricorn is all about establishment, governments, corporations, big business, authority. So all of these themes are going to play out through this Venus retrograde with Pluto. So with Pluto so closely involved, we will also be experiencing power struggles, power grabs, as well as turning points. And these are going to be massive turning points as well, like huge shifts of not just energy, but huge shifts of direction in many ways, where we thought we might have been heading into something. It's almost like there's going to be a lot of endings. A lot of endings, a lot of things where we may feel as though we're kind of going down that road, and then it's kind of like a roadblock, almost like just being put there. So the message here is no kind of turning back. It's almost like we cannot go back from where we've just come. So Pluto is all about endings, all about things coming to a finality, an end. So this will become more apparent from now until early March, which is when Venus will eventually move out of her shadow as well. But she will still be, I believe she'll still be conjunct Pluto again, because Pluto is very slow moving, and he's really kind of going to be like moving over those very last degrees of Capricorn before he moves into Aquarius in 2023. And he will also move back out of Aquarius and back into Capricorn again, where he will again kind of go over those same last degree points of Capricorn. So it's also worth knowing where those points are in your own personal chart again as well, because they will play a big part over these next like through 2022 and 2023, even into 2024 as well. So Venus and Pluto will also be bringing up the depth of corruption that lies at the root of our establishments, especially, I feel personally, in the world of art. I think that's going to be a big thing. I think we're going to see things in the world of art that are going to be very shocking, unexpected. It's going to change that vision that we have of the art world, shall we say. As Venus rules art and beauty, both of which have strong connections with the financial systems and those in positions of global power and status especially. Art is something that is used in a way as currency, but there is also another currency underlying the art world as well, which I don't really want to talk about as such, but it is related to the younger generation, shall we say. So the 10th house and Capricorn energy is that status. It's all about status. Capricorn very much kind of rules over the status as well. So again, it's all about establishment, people in positions of power and authority, which has been abused and misused and corrupted, and all of this is going to come out. So Venus is a personal planet, and therefore when she goes retrograde, we feel it powerfully and intensely. It has a huge direct effect on our lives as individuals. One of the main things Venus is recognized for is being the planet of love and romance. For this reason, over the next 3 months, we are going to experience some major crisis in our personal, intimate relationships, which could see some real losses of both the relationships and or the person we have these strong bonding emotions with. This whole 3 months, as we move through these winter months up until March, early March, is going to be a time of a lot of sadness, sorrow, loss, grieving, things relationships, people that we have in our life are going to disappear in one way or another. So the time of a Venus retrograde is a transformative time for the planet herself, as she dives into the space between death and rebirth. Like the proverbial caterpillar, Venus is waiting to emerge from an evening star to a morning star, or vice versa. This time round she's going to be a morning star. She's going from an evening star to a morning star. So either way, Venus is being reborn. This retrograde, the energy of death and rebirth is increased by the presence of Pluto. He is taking Venus down into the depths of our emotional graveyard, where the undead experiences of our previous relationships still haunt our present, lurking in the darkness of the subconscious, unacknowledged or unrecognized. This is shadow work. We are going to be asked to do a lot of shadow work. So Pluto also rules poisons and toxins, as well as a tendency for obsessiveness, jealousy and possessiveness. So we may have to face some hard truths about the relationships we keep attracting and what we believe we deserve when it comes to our romances, love and even our finances. On a collective level, we may come to realise we have been in an extremely abusive relationship on a mass scale with those who we wanted to believe had our best interest at heart and wouldn't do anything to cause us heartache, sorrow or pain. Just like we can fool ourselves in our one-on-one relationships. This Venus retrograde will be showing us some hard, stone cold realities. However, Venus, the planet of aesthetics and beauty, does not do well with the harsh and ugly facts of life. In Capricorn though, she is really not going to have a choice. Like the caterpillar, when it goes through its own transformative process, which is painful and destructive, this Venus retrograde will be manifesting ultimately as what it is we value. We will be needing to ask ourselves what it is in particular we value in ourselves, or even do we value ourselves, as we will be taken emotionally to the depth of some very big fears around these Venus retrograde in Capricorn themes. We will be shown internally that which we have been projecting externally, which could also include having to face our shadow nature and possibly revisiting old relationships, either in actuality or through the emotional body of memories. By the time we come out of it, this retrograde will have seen us challenged to stand in our own power, question our values, as well as find out where our real commitments lie. Another powerful energy we may find ourselves dealing with over these next 3 months is that of impermanence, as that is what Pluto brings to any sign he is in. We are going to see a lot of finalities as well as fatalities. If you are still here by the end of these 3 months, then the universe has a bigger purpose for you. This Venus-Pluto retrograde in Capricorn is challenging us to become stronger and more confident in our ability for personal success, whatever that may mean on an individual level. It is time to cut out the old, the stagnant, and that which is no longer working for us, both on individual and collective levels, when it comes to being held back by our own fears of failure, as well as fears of success, which can be equally strong and stop us from reaching what we truly would love to be able to achieve. The Sun will be leaving Sagittarius, and like Mercury previously, he will be crossing over the world axis. So we will see these Venus retrograde themes play out on the world stage, as he will be highlighting all her energy from early January 2022. The sun will be in Capricorn from the 21st of December. The winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, the summer solstice in the southern hemisphere. The sun will be at its lowest point of the sky in the north, the highest in the south. In the north, we will experience our longest night of the year. In the south, it will be the longest day. The winter solstice is the time when the sun appears to stop in the sky, which is literally what it means. It is then reborn on the 25th of December, as it once again starts to rise higher into the sky at each sunrise daily, taking us up to the spring equinox. This winter, our festive celebrations are going to feel like they have an extremely highly emotional charge around them, as on the 24th of December, Christmas Eve, we will be experiencing the last exact battle between the two giants. Uranus, retrograde at 11 degrees 12 in Taurus, square with Saturn, 11 degrees 12 in Aquarius. Uranus is fighting for freedom, change, and a new future. Saturn is fighting to keep control, the status quo, and hold on to how things have been traditionally for a very long time. While this is occurring, Uranus will, however, have some backup, as the Sun will be starting to trine him, which will get stronger, with the Sun adding his beneficial influence for the rest of December through to the first week of January. So again, this square energy that's happening between Uranus and Saturn is not something that's just going to happen on the 24th, Christmas Eve, and then it's going to be finished. This is going to be at least a week-long process, and even longer. It's going to go on till the end of December, and it will even carry on through 2022 as well. So this battle, this exact moment is going to take place on the 24th of December, Christmas Eve. This real fight for freedom and liberation and revolution, and that rebellious energy versing that kind of Saturn restriction, control, tradition. You must stay in the mindset of being controllable, in a way, really, is what Saturn is saying, because it rules that Capricorn energy of the establishment, and the establishment is trying to control the masses. And Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, and Aquarius is the energy of the people. It is the collective energy, and Uranus is waking everything up. And Saturn is just trying his hardest to hold on to and keep everything the same way, with people doing the same thing that they've always done over and over again in the same way, or alternatively try and take control still, but in a different aspect of control. But it's not going to work, not this time. So as much as people may be out there talking about these ideas of what's going to happen next, and it's all being put out there for us to research and find out about, things like the lower level energy of Aquarius, transhumanism, and the way that they want to control the monetary system again, and reset everything. And it's all, the old system is all crumbling, it's all falling down, and Aquarius is basically saying that it has to, the system that is coming into place has to be for the benefit of everybody, otherwise it's just not going to, it's not going to be viable. But the power systems, the systems that have been controlling everything for a long time, are losing that ability to hold on to this. And we're going to see more of that take place as we move into 2022, 2023, and also as the nodes change signs as well. That's also going to have another big effect, because Uranus is in Taurus. It's going to stay in Taurus for a few more years. I think it's 2025 that Uranus will eventually leave Taurus. So it's still going to be making some massive changes and shifts, and of course Venus is the ruler of Taurus, so those eclipses are going to be happening in Taurus and Scorpio. Big changes. So yeah, again, as if that wasn't enough of this square with Saturn and Uranus taking place, we also have on Christmas Day the second exact conjunction between Venus and Pluto. So this Venus energy will also be feeling extra charged, as she is the ruler of Taurus, where all these Uranian changes connected to the Venus themes are happening. And I just kind of want to read this because to me it's like this is kind of the process, I feel, of what we're going through at this time. And it's a quote from a teacher, spiritual teacher called Yasmin, and it says, enlightenment is a destructive process. It has nothing to do with becoming better or being happier. Enlightenment is the crumbling away of untruth. It's seeing through the facade of pretense. It's the complete eradication of everything we imagined to be true. And I think that's exactly kind of sums up where we are at this time perfectly for me. So before all this happens, around the festive season, we also have had Mars move out of Scorpio into Sagittarius on the 14th of December. And he moved across the South Node at that time at 0 degrees 28 minutes exact on the 14th of December. And of course that South Node is all about letting go. So Mars has been triggering this point of Ketu for some time, of our collective past karma, telling us that that was a time to let go of what we can no longer hold on to, particularly around our belief systems. Mars, the inner warrior, has been giving us the strength, courage and push to do just that. Of course, Mars is also opposing the North Node at the same time as he was crossing over the South Node. So he was also kind of triggering that energy of the North Node as well. But the emphasis was completely, really fully on the South Node at that time. So Mars was also in a square with Jupiter, because the moon's nodes are both in square with Jupiter. So Mars was kind of adding that extra energy and extra emphasis to that end of the T-square as well. And as Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, we could have had to face some hard and truthful lessons to help us grow, expand and learn something about the bigger picture in our lives that we could only understand by releasing what we believed at that point in time to be truth. So Mars will also, on the 31st of December, New Year's Eve of course, be triggering the exact degree point of the solar eclipse that we've just had, that big solar eclipse energy on the 4th of December, which will reactivate some powerful energy points in our lives again, bringing even more shocking hidden truths into the collective narrative again also into our lives on an individual level as well. So again, check out where that solar eclipse took place for you. And of course the solar eclipse is going to be continuing, that energy is continuing right through 6 months worth of solar eclipse energy. Which I think is more or less from now until, yeah, it'll be from now until the sun enters into Taurus and we get the first eclipse at the end of the Taurus season. I'll have to look into that more because I haven't really looked into that yet. But that energy is going to be ongoing. Things are still going to be rippling out into the collective. So the sun will be trine to Uranus, Mars will be in a quincunx with Uranus and a sextile with Saturn, who remains square with Uranus. This is really strong and assertive energy, and this is happening on the 31st of December, New Year's Eve. And this energy is wanting to see and experience that change. It's that change that has kind of been there in the background, kind of bubbling away, kind of letting us know it's there. Every now and again we've had 3 squares, or we will have had 3 squares by the time we get to the end of the year. So each time those squares have come together, it's kind of been that force of the new, change, revolution, and the old, what has to be let go of and released, and what wants to stay. And so that past energy, sorry, that Uranian energy has been kind of, like I say, bubbling away in the background, and it's kind of getting to that point where we're really wanting to make it happen. We really want this shift to occur. It's like, come on, come on, come on. We know it's happening. We know it's coming. And we're kind of getting to that point of like, a bit like chaffing at the bit now. Like we just really want to get things shifting and moving in our lives again. And of course, as this is happening, we're also being told by the authorities that we can't do this and we can't do that, and we're going to get locked down and da 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 da. So that is that energy, that is that battle between the freedom of the individual and the kind of control of the authority. With Mars in Sagittarius as well, we're going to experience this change in an enthusiastic and exuberant fashion. Like Mars is coming from Sagittarius. Sagittarius is kind of excitable and enthusiastic and boisterous and full of fun and wants to enjoy. And we also have that rebellious side of Uranus as well, that is not wanting to be told what to do with our lives, you know. And this is all going to be at the forefront as Mars is also in a trine with Chiron, who also happens to be in a sextile with Saturn. So this feels to me like a massive kind of crescendo of energy to finish 2021 on. And I just think that to stop people from experiencing this energy, or to try to stop people from experiencing this energy, is just going to cause a huge outpour of, I don't want to say anger or rage, but it just feels like a lot of stuff is going to come out, because also Venus is going retrograde as well, and so it just feels like a lot of emotional charge is behind all of this. And Uranus, of course, is the charge. It is electricity. It rules electricity. It's unexpected, sudden surprises. So anything could happen, really, on that 31st of December. So We could see clashing with authority over our sovereign rights as to who has more dominance over our lives. And the word dominance originates from domain. So to take dominance was to take somebody's domain, and the original domain, of course, is the body that we live in, not just kind of the outside environment. Our body is our own personal domain. And so partly this is part of this this energy that we're going to be experiencing as well with Mars, because Mars is also going to be asking, you know, who has that right for autonomy over it. You know, it is us, it is our domain. We have the autonomy over our own bodies. So very interestingly, Chiron also stationed at the same time as Venus on the stroke of midnight on the 19th of December. Only Chiron at 8 degrees 26 minutes stationed direct in the sign ruled by Mars. As with all stationary planetary objects, Chiron's energy will have been magnified at that time. Chiron has been going back over the part of the sky from 12 degrees 55 minutes to the 08 degrees 26 minutes of Aries since July. He has been helping to heal the old wounded patterning that has become so ingrained in our psyche on an ancestral past level that we continue to pass these woundings onto the next generation, often on a subconscious bodily language way. Although it is also beginning to be realised that trauma can be stored within the genes, and certain alternative modes of healing can help release these traumas from the energetic spaces of our bodies. Chiron is the non-conventional healer. And at the time of this full moon in Gemini, he continues to be trine with Mars, bringing through some strong determination and passion for the truth around the treatment of our bodies and the freedom to act on this truth. He is also still sextile with Saturn in Aquarius, so he's helping us to achieve mastery over our own dominion, both on an individual and collective level. I also feel that we will see a lot of consequences for actions that have previously been taken by those in positions of authority and significance in our lives around the restriction of alternative remedies, as Chiron once again begins to cover the same ground from March to July of 2021. So March was when he went into his shadow, July was when he went retrograde, and he will not be completing this, he will not come out of his own shadow until the second week of April 2022. So we've still got this period of time where Chiron is going to go back over that same ground for the third time, as he moves away and out of his own shadow. But I feel that during that period of time, as we are going back over that same ground, more is going to come out about medical procedures, shall we say, and medical procedures that could have happened that didn't happen because they were not allowed to happen. And a lot of questions will be asked, I feel, about that as well. So the Sabian symbol for the 27 degrees of Gemini is a young gypsy emerging from the woods, gazes at far cities. This is again a different Sabian symbol to the ones that I would normally use, because that one seems to have disappeared again. So this symbol shows that there is a desire to attempt or achieve something that is at times far off or out of reach. It takes courage to be something of a foreigner or an outcast and still venture into society, seeking its rewards and enticements. Perhaps you don't have financial resources or conventional accreditation behind you. It could be the constraints of friends and family that are holding you back from being able to strike out on your own. Wanting and trying to participate even when you don't initially command respect or acceptance is difficult, but with perseverance, rewarding, a place to truly call home needs to be found. Set your sights high and go for it. Dreaming of being a part of something far off or bigger. Lessons to be streetwise. New perspectives arising from larger realities. Striking out on one's own and corporate realities. So dissatisfaction and looking elsewhere, feelings of not belonging, being in limbo, alienation, abandonment of home and family, restrictions, limits of activity. These all kind of sum up some of the experiences I feel that people have had to go through over these past 18 months or so, should we say, of how difficult it has become for some people, and that kind of widening gap between fitting in and not fitting in, which is very much something that is being pushed forward very strongly. And so the 27 degrees of Sagittarius, because I like to read the actual sun position as well, is a sculptor, or the sculptor's vision is slowly but surely taking form. So this symbol shows being able to project one's visions, thoughts or ideals into the world so that they could take form and come into conscious manifestation. This is the degree of the galactic center, and it holds an enormous charge of energy and power. Something not to be taken lightly. There is a responsibility inherent in this for you to understand that your thoughts will take shape. So be careful about what you think. At the time of this full moon, you have to be careful where you put your thinking thoughts, what you're focusing your attention on. You may find yourself in situations where you can manipulate events into something of value and lasting integrity. Slowly, painstaking work will bring rewards as things come to fruition. You are able to project, shape and form into materials to have a desired outcome. Follow your vision, be creative, picture an outcome and watch it materialize, which is kind of summing up the law of attraction in many ways as well. Where you place your attention, or where we as a collective place our attention, is where we as a collective are going to see results, whether they're results that we want or don't want, will not really be the like, how can I put it, like wherever we place our attention will be the results that we get. So we need to be careful where we are focusing our attention at this time in particular, because of this massive surge of energy that is coming through to our sun. So we may get results that we don't want, but that's because we are focusing on what we don't want rather than focusing on what we do want. So concrete creative manifestation, the Godhead, the mind of God, moulding shapes and forms, the galactic center, evolution, the law of attraction, sculptors, visions ahead of time. Disregards of others' needs, unnatural focus on goal, being one-eyed about things or objectives, thinking that things will just magically happen without effort. So I take it that those are more the kind of negative side of the possibilities here. So that is the end of my reading. I will quickly pull a Wild Offering Oracle card for us to see. Actually no, I won't pull one of them because they're mixed in with the other cards and I forgot all about that, so I will pull some reflection cards instead. I either need to separate them or have both sets together, otherwise we're not going to get a full full picture. So let's see what the reflection cards would like to say. What's the message for this full moon in Gemini? Please, source, messages or message for the collective full moon in Gemini energy. Any more? Any more, any more, any more? Nope, maybe that's just the 2 that we're going to get. Oh, actually there's 3. I thought it was only 2, but there is 3. So many of you have been taught that desire is wrong. Desire has always been part of your journey. Now your desire becomes complete with your unison light. Desire is one of the Venus properties as well. Venus does rule desire, as in many ways does Pluto as well, as they are opposing signs, Taurus and Scorpio. So you must first lose the desire to help, for this will of itself hinder your actual help for others. That's interesting. Maybe that's something that we're needing to let go of during this Venus retrograde. If we're trying to help others through our own desire rather than the actual need. So you have heard people talk of heaven, but heaven, dear children, is all around you. So that is the kind of galactic center energy, I feel, that divine energy coming through there. Kind of it is all around, and what we need to do is kind of open our eyes and see it for what it is, and that it's always been there. In that respect, I suppose it is everything, all that there is. And on that note, I'm going to leave this reading and say thank you very much to those of you who have come across, taken the time to listen to what I have to say. I really do appreciate it. If you have enjoyed my reading, if you've learned anything from it at all, could you please give it a thumbs up, because it really does help me to just be recognized on YouTube. The more thumbs up that people give, it's a very small thing, and a lot of people kind of don't think of it as being relevant or important, but it truly is, because that's how YouTube works. Also, thank you very much to those of you who have and do like and thumbs up my videos. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please could you do so as well, because I really do want to grow my channel and get things kind of moving as I move more into 2022 as well. I am going to try and do some 2022 videos for each of the sun signs as well before the end of January. It probably won't be before the end of December. Some of them I might get out there before the end of December, but probably more towards the end of January that I'll be able to have got them all out. But if you could subscribe to my channel, please, that would make a huge difference to kind of just the growth of it as well. And also thank you to those of you who have already subscribed. I really do appreciate each and every one of you who has joined my channel over this last year. I will be putting out hopefully another video before the end of December as well. So if you're interested in finding out more about my videos, please could you also hit that bell so that they will let you know when my videos go out. You'll get a notification. I will just say that I personally don't get many notifications for people who either comment on my videos or like my videos or subscribe to my channel. So if I don't respond, it's because I've not received a notice telling me anything has actually happened. So yeah, there is a playlist for any of you who are interested in looking at this past year. I don't put dates or times on any of my sun sign videos because things can happen, crap can happen to anybody at any time, and that reading could be for you. I may have done it early in the year, but that doesn't mean that you're not experiencing something the same now. So if it resonates with you on that level, then just take it as your reading. So there are all the sun sign videos on my playlist, as well as all the full moon and the new moons, both the tarot and the astrology. And I will be putting the tarot reading for this Gemini full moon out there as well, after this one has been uploaded. So hopefully I will see you again very soon. Please take good care of yourselves. Enjoy this Gemini full moon and the Venus retrograde as much as is possible. Remember to breathe, just kind of try not to get attached to the emotions too much, and stay in your power. And I will see you hopefully again soon.